Welcome back to our Beatrice YouTube channel. In today's class, we're going to learn how to make this beautiful overlap of shoulder sleeve. The structured sleeve and it's very simple to make. This is something you like to learn. Kindly stay tuned to the end of this tutorial. Thank you.
So this is a very simple flare sleeve. It's like an overlap sleeve. So the measurement you're going to need is the length of the sleeve as well as the radius where you're going to place it. Okay, so for me, the radius you're going to place it on, that's around your bicep area in this case, because it's an off shoulder. So you measure around that space, then you're going to add another few inches, between 5 to 6, for the overlap, depending on how much you want it to overlap. So for me, for both the radius and the overlap allowance, I'm going to be working with 20 inches. So that 20 inches now, I'm working with a half circle method. So to get the radius of a half circle, you're going to divide whatever place that you're placing it on by 3.14. Okay, so after dividing this, I have about 6.3 thereabout. So I'm going to approximate this to 6.5. So that's going to be the radius of this flare. So for the length, I'm going to work with 15 inches. So the total fabric that I'm going to need is this 15 inches length plus this 6.5. So that's about 21.5. So now to measure this, you just take one end of your fabric like this. You measure how the 21.5 that you're working with, and then you fold into two. So after measuring 21.5 from that point, I'm going to fold into two like this. So I have two 21.5 on fold. Okay, so now after folding it into two, now the next thing is for you to fold in front of a triangle like you're folding a cone. I'm still going to show this with a paper because this is quite big. So you fold it in form of a triangle like this. You can see what we have. So describing this with a paper, you fold into two first with the 21 and half here, 21 and half here, or whatever measurement yours measures. So after folding into two like this, the next folding you're doing is like a triangle like this, okay, in form of a cone. So that is what I have here on this table. So after folding like that, because this fabric is big, I'm just going to take out the 21 and half inches first, so that I'll have something smaller to work with. So from this starting point, from this cone part, I'm going to start measuring 21 and half inches all round. So from here, I'll mark the 21 and half, and then I'll mark it all round, and then I'll cut it out, just like you're cutting your flare. Okay, it's simple. So after marking it all round, I'm going to go ahead now and connect everything together, and then I'll use my scissors to cut it out. So after cutting this out, I'm going to go to the upper part now and measure out my radius. So you can see now that we have something smaller on the table. So here on the radius, remember I measured 6.5 inches for my radius. The 15 inches is for the length. So now from this starting point, now I'll mark the 6.5 inches all round, just like I measured out the 21. So you can see I'm marking 6.5 inches here all round, and then again I'm going to go ahead and cut it out. So after cutting this out, I'm going to lay it on the table. You can see this open part, this other part is closed. I'm going to lay the open part on the table. You can connect it anyhow, but to make it easier for me, I'm just going to fold the hem into two, and then I'm going to note the midpoint. So from there now, you can either use your free hand or you use a curve. I'm going to give it a curvy effect to meet the starting point, this radius here. Remember, the smaller one is the radius, this big one is the hem. So now I'm just connecting like this to just give it like a curved shape. I don't want the edges to be straight like this. Remember, it's going to overlap. That's why I'm doing this. So now you just cuff, connect and cuff like this, and you make sure whatever cuff you are doing is as smooth as possible. And then I'm going to grab my scissors and then follow this new shape that I have created. Just blend everything in very well, and this is what it looks like now. So you're going to go ahead and cut another one for this, which is going to serve as the lining. So basically what we are doing is just to overlap them together. So you can see I'm going to overlap it, and by the time I'm done overlapping, I'll check what I have, and it has to be the measurement that I need for my bicep area. Okay, so you can see where it is on the overlap area. You can see. So now, because it's a structured sleeve, you may need to enhance it with interfacing or gum stay, collar stay, whatever it is that you want to work with. So I'll cut another one for this, fix my collar, my gum stay. I'm using just gum stay. I'll iron my gum stay onto it as well, and then use the lining and main fabric to turn out each other. So I have used the interfacing, as you have seen, and this is the main bodice and this is the lining. So I just place them against each other, and then I sew it round, leaving a little space here to turn it out. So you can notch it because it's a curved area, so that it can relax well by the time you turn it. So I'll just dip my hand here. I'm going to try to turn it out, then after turning it out, I'm going to iron it flat, because of course it's going to be puffy when you turn it. So now after turning it from this small space, I'm going to iron it flat, and then I'm going to close the small space I'm turning it out from. So I have ironed it now, as you can see. So this small space that I ironed it from is going to be the one. Just make sure that wherever you're making the opening is the part that is going to overlap. Okay, it's very important, so that by the time you sew it, all of your sewing, although it's small, but you still want it to be as neat as possible. And you can also use your hemming gum to close it up. So after folding in the seam allowance like this, you can just place a hemming gum there and use it to close it, so that you're not going to see any seam line there. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to go ahead and overlap this with whatever overlap allowance that you left. Okay, so after overlapping, this is what it looks like. You can see this shape that we have there. So now, to attach this to your bodies, it can be attached in two ways. In the thumbnail that we have there, so like I was saying, you can attach this in two ways. You can see I just held the overlap area with a pin. So you can, in the thumbnail, if you look closely, it looks like there is a mesh, a skin mesh on the upper part of the sleeve. So some parts of the sleeve was cut with a skin mesh. I'm going to illustrate that with this organdy fabric. So you get a skin mesh in your skin tone color, and then you use that to cut like the upper part of the off shoulder. It's an off shoulder sleeve. So you use that to cut the upper part of the off shoulder sleeve, and then on the hem of the sleeve, after closing the hem of the sleeve, you sew this radius area, the opening part, to the hem of the sleeve, just to join it together. So if you use a skin mesh of your exact skin tone, this part is not going to show. The only part you're going to see is this bold sleeve part, the overlap sleeve part. That's what you're going to see. So if you're not going to be adding a skin mesh to yours, another thing you can do is to fold the sleeve just like this. You need to identify the head of the sleeve for each side. So for mine, this is the head of the sleeve, this is the underarm area, and then the overlap is going to be by the side in front. Okay, this is the side for the back, this is the side for the front. The overlap is going to be by the side in front, and this is the head of my sleeve. So what you just need to do now is to mark out the half, the inches that you went that you went half width on your fabric, usually between 4 and 5 inches. You mark that, and then here you curve out your calf's height to create like a little armhole, and then you connect like this. So you cut out this part, and this part that you cut out is what you're going to be sewing to the armhole of your bodies. I hope you understand that. So that's why you're going to sew to the armhole of your body. But if you're working with this method, you don't need to cut any part of your bodies, because the armhole area is going to, the mesh is going to carry the armhole area for you. So all you just need to do is to sew this to the hem of your clothes. So after doing that, you can go ahead and embellish this with whatever trimming that you have, just to make it more beautiful. So all you just need to embellish is this open part. You don't need to embellish this closed part, all the open parts that you have there, and then this upper part of the sleeve. So I'll do this now, and then I'll take it to the mannequin so that we can see what it looks like.
So I just hang it on my mannequin. You can see that the overlap is facing the side to the front. So there are several ways you can attach it to your body. Just like I explained, you can create an armhole there, or you join another fabric to it. I hope you enjoyed making this beautiful tutorial with me. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.